It's September the 26th, 2025. This is an ELF video. We're standing in what we call the Tuwanek Spring Forest, a name approved by Hayworth Calvin Cragen in acknowledgement of the Tuwanek clan that had a village site along the shores here below in Porpoise Bay. This area is also a proposed Sunshine Coast Community Forest, Block AN 14. We want to describe some of the forest conditions in here today with you. Standing before us is an old stump or broken off cedar that we can follow down here that's now acting as a nurse log. So this is what they would consider an old forest feature, where you have this type of woody debris on the ground. This forest is comprised of 60% Douglas fir, 20% cedar, and then a mix of hemlock and alder. There's an alder right there, which is a fire-resistant species, so that's good to have a mix of a deciduous component in this forest, which has probably led to a longer than usual fire disturbance regime in this forest. This is on a slope. The block is on a slope that gradually comes down and meets a natural spring, and then it levels out more into a cedar sword fern zone. The community forest has stated this entire block is age class 5. However, when we did a GIS analysis, it did indicate that there's also at least 3 hectares of age class 8, which is getting up to more of the old growth condition with the older trees in here. The fir in here there's some that could be classified as old growth fir because they show fire scarring. The fir that we're coming to right in front of us is probably more in the 140, 160 age range. There's no fire scarring on it. Then we're looking down slope, and this slope leads to a naturally occurring spring. So the spring is fed by groundwater recharge. Right now that spring is dry because of the long summer we've had without any significant precipitation. If this area is logged, then there'll be way less groundwater recharge, and there's a threat that the spring would dry up. The spring acts as a freshwater source for the various mammals that move through here: bear, deer, and elk. That's the moss there is Oregon beak moss, and when in combination with the cedar and fir is considered a red listed plant community, and the GIS mapping shows that the whole area is of a red listed plant community. There's not many stands left of this type of ecosystem that's part of the coastal western hemlock XM1 and DM zones. We're coming up to a good size western white pine. Somebody's laid out a display of cones here. Pine is considered a yellow listed species because of its decline over the years from a pest that was introduced, a blister, pine bark blister that was introduced back in the 1930s. There's a nice, well-established patch of sword fern. Now, the community forest has this block planned for 2027. They say on their block list that most of the planning has been completed, and there's very little room now for changes by the public. However, they've really never held, well, we know they've never held a specific planning, say, open house for this block. It's just people look at the block list where there's no pictures showing the conditions that we're showing you today. And so the public really has no idea unless you come out here and walk this trail what this forest is really all about. So here's a nice stand of mature red cedar with the sword fern. That's a red listed plant community in and of itself. Cedar sword fern in its old growth state, but since there's very little cedar sword fern old growth sites left on the Sunshine Coast, these can also be grouped in as red listed ecosystems. There's a nice fir with a cedar in the background. Now the block extends across there to the east and down the slope. There's very little protection of these kinds of older forests between Seashell and the community of Tuwanek. Of course, there's the Hidden Grove forest, which is an excellent older forest like this one. It's very popular. The Sunshine Coast could do with another protected area here on these low elevation slopes. So we think community forests should protect this area, add it to their conservation network. It's one of the better examples of an old forest left in this area. And this trail is now getting good use by the people in Tuwanek, and probably even folks from Sandy Hook are coming over here. There's another alder. And the Tuwanek neighborhood is over there across the road. So this block extends right to the Seashell Dakota Forest Service Road. There's an alder, there's a cedar, there's huckleberry, sword fern, of course, salal on the as part of the plant community here. There's a really nice other mature red cedar right here. And there's been some bark harvesting by Seashell band members. So there's a good source of future supply of cedar. Here's the spring we were talking about earlier. It's dried up because of the long summer season without rain. And so it's clearly a spring that's filled by groundwater recharge. And it spills out over here and flows. So that flows down that slope. That slope is usually quite moist, and hence all the sword fern extended all across there. There's a cedar right there. Somebody has a wildlife cam up there, so be interested to talk to the person who has that up there. They probably would see all sorts of animals coming through here. So we can walk back out to the road along the trail. There's I would say, an old growth Douglas fir there. And it's a really beautiful forest. There's somebody else coming along the trail here. Maybe we can talk to them and see if they come out to this forest very often. Hello there.
Hi.
So I just happened upon you here. Did you come out to the Tuwanek Spring Forest much? Maybe you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you know about this area.
Sure, I'd love to. Yeah, I do come out here fairly often because I live right across the street. My name is Swapnil. Most people call me Swap. And, I'll end up coming out here maybe a couple times a week and enjoying the beauty of this place. I'll come out here with my wife. I'll come out here to walk the dog.
Nice.
And I'm not alone in that. I know that a lot of people in our community do appreciate coming out here for a variety of reasons. Some people come out here to forage mushrooms. Other people are out here just having their daily walk or their outing. And I know a lot of people walk their dogs here. We've seen plenty of dogs here. And beyond the community use, that's kind of sprung up in the last little while since this trail has become a part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of animals in our
Mm-hmm.
short, yes, 4.5 years that we've lived here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen plenty of bear, quite a few elk, heard owls all the time. Even once saw a cougar come through.
Really? Wow, that's
So
amazing.
I know that this forest is a place that the community and animals rely on.
Yeah, yeah.
And right now the spring is dried up, but in a few weeks when the rains come, that spring is going to be bubbling and flowing downstream. And I'm sure animals do come and take a good drink out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's an important place for our community and for the animals,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm concerned about the Sunshine Coast Community Forest plans for this area. Originally, it was designated as a commercial harvesting zone, known as AN14. It's recently been changed to a wildfire risk reduction area,
Okay.
which sounds better for sure.
Yeah.
But I want to be totally certain that it's not only at the surface that it sounds better, because wildfire risk reduction could mean many things. At the provincial level, they do have some guidelines and parameters. From what I've discussed with the SCCF, there's no clear parameters as to what the wildfire risk reduction program means for this area. As far as I know, it could mean just clearing of the brush, it could mean trimming of lower branches, and it could go as far as cutting down larger trees. There just hasn't been clarity provided on that. I am involved with the Tuwanek Ratepayers Association.
Oh, it's all right. Okay.
And they share my concern, and they've kind of requested me to speak on their behalf in certain cases for the protection, essentially, of this forest. And what they would like to see matches what I would like to see, is some kind of clarity, transparency from the SCCF, as well as community involvement and discussion. What does it mean that you're doing the wildfire risk reduction? What are the parameters? What are the scientifically backed guidelines that you'll be following? And can we please be involved as the community here in
sounds reasonable.
in these discussions? So that's what we're trying to do. Essentially, I think we're all on the same team. I think even SCCF is on the same team, that we are looking to make our home into a beautiful and safe place to live. As long as we can align on that, I hope that we can do it in a way that we can protect this beautiful and unique forest, because the spring is something I haven't seen anywhere else on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, they're rare.
Few years of being here, and it's almost a place of refuge for the community now and for the animals.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we can find a way to work together to protect this area for years to come.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's really great to hear your overview and meeting you today.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay, I'm going to carry out to the road here and just end this video up.
Great, enjoy
Okay,
your
have a
walk.
great day. Bye. Well, that was interesting about the the change of plan from a commercial logging operation to I guess they call it wildfire reduction, whatever, as that gentleman was saying, whatever that ends up meaning. So there's the sign that Alf put up with the approval of Hayworth Calvin Cragen. Hopefully Community Forest will take everything presented in today's video into consideration. Thanks for watching.